Hi everyone, it's Imogen. Welcome back to Colouring Kid. I was requested by Sue to do a colour and chat, and I love doing these and I really enjoy watching them, so I thought I would. And seeing as it's half term, I have some more time. And also Beth asked for a wood tutorial after seeing a picture that I'd done in Fairy Miracles. Let me just find it for you. Can't find it now. There we go. So it was the wood door that I'd done, and it's really simple. And I'm actually colouring a picture at the moment in Dream Reese, which is the book I'm going to be doing a colour and chat from. And I think I'm pretty much using the same colours, and it's the same technique of just putting the darker colour in the shadowed areas. And then like the lighter. So I'm just going to show you that so that I can do that tutorial for Beth. So before we get started, I just want to show you this new case that I got. I got it a couple of weeks ago and it was on my wish list, and I saw it had gone down in price a bit, and obviously with polar bears being my favourite animal, I just couldn't resist. And the thing that I love about it is that it's great for travelling because it's the same sort of size as my other cases, but I just find it's really useful because I can fit extra things in the pockets and more pencils are kind of on one page. And the only thing I was worried about was, because you can fit 3 pencils, 4 at a push, but I put 3 in, these, you know, with these sliding out, and they don't actually slide out, which is great. But yeah, it's really good to just have pencils in for travelling. So if we're going away here and there for a weekend, I can just put my pencils in that I use most often. And at the moment, currently, I've got all of my Holbein pastel pencils and then just pencils that I use on a regular basis. And, you know, it will change as time goes by when I find that, oh, I'm not really using that colour, I'll just take that one out and slot another one in. So it's really good. And there was also another case that I saw, which I really like the look of, which is the Arteza one. It's the black and white one, I think, and that holds so many pencils, and that's another that I would really like to get. And I think the design's really nice as well, and it's really inexpensive compared to other cases. I'm not sure how many pencils it holds exactly, but it had about 8 leaves. Pretty sure it was over 200, and it was only $15.99 or something on the Arteza website, and I think I can get 10% off, or, you know, but if you were looking for a new case, that's a really good one to get, and I'd like to get it at some point in the future. But yeah, I just thought this was a really lovely case, and really sturdy, really good quality, and I'm loving using it. So I think we'll just get started. I'm just going to do a quick flip, I think, of Dream Reese, because it's one of Maria Troll's books that aren't spoken about as much as her other ones. I find more people, or they might have known about Vivi Socker and Van. I think that was the original one, but then maybe some people don't know that there's a Dutch edition. So this is the Dutch edition of that book. I think it's called Vivi is Looking for a Friend, or Vivi is Finding a Friend, or something like that. It's the MUS Publishing, and yeah, so I'm just going to do a quick flip, and it's really good paper. You might know that from Computer Pages videos and stuff. This is one of my favourite pages that I have pretty much ever done. So yeah, so it was in Dutch, I think, originally in Swedish, now it's in Dutch. So I've done quite a few pages, and with this book, as I mentioned in my favourite books video, actually I'll go a bit slower because these are ones that I've done. I really have to be in the mood to colour this book, and I hadn't coloured in it for about 4 months, and now I've come back to it. And the reason is because lots of the things are the same, as it's a storybook. I want everything to look the same, so that's why some things, it can get a bit boring just doing the same thing over and over again. But I'm really enjoying colouring in it at the moment, so I'm going to stick with it whilst I am enjoying it. But I have been moving around a bit with it. I haven't stuck rigidly to doing it in order, because I also find that then it's more interesting because you're filling it up, you know, in different places, and then, you know, instead of just doing it all in a row. And also you may not feel like doing a picture. The only reason I didn't do this one was because I just coloured a page with lots of the flowers and I didn't feel like doing it again. So I will be coming back to it soon, but I really like the black background as well. So this is the one that you might have seen that I've done in the last couple of days. It's all the same colours for the flowers, and I actually, as I said, I prefer this page to the first page because I took more care over the flowers. So it is a bit different, and I much prefer this, and I wish I'd done these pink flowers as well there, but you know, I don't mind. But yeah, it didn't take long. I was actually only working on it probably for about 3 days, and this was the beginning of half term, but still, I mean, it's one of those pages that you think is going to take ages, but it actually didn't. And you know, there was wood on here as well, and this is the same colour that I'm going to be showing today, and it's just 3 colours. It's really simple. You can do it with any pencils. So then move on to this page, which again is one that I literally did the other day. I did it within a day, but it didn't take the whole day. What I did was to make it easier. I've done a colour and chat on this as well. I just went over all of these hills with various pastels, like chalk pastels. I've done a tutorial on that as well, and then I've just gone over with pencil. So in some of these ones at the back, I haven't gone in with each tiny area because that's absolutely ridiculous. I've just gone in with a shadow colour for the hills to acknowledge that the shadow. Yeah, and then I coloured everything normally, and I don't think there's any... Oh yeah, there is. I put glitter on the water, but that was it. Usually with this, I'm only putting glitter on the butterflies and accenting things here and there. The only thing I'm really annoyed about, as I mentioned in my favourite books video, is that I had washi tape on here to get the straight line, and you can't really see. I mean, I can see it in person. It's really irritating, but I cut a bit of the paper pulled up, so just have to bear that in mind. But I really like this because it's a double page spread, but it doesn't take up the whole double page, so it's actually a lot quicker. And I think the other really nice thing about this is that, yes, it is a storybook, but you can make up, you know, your own story to go along with it. You can tell from the pictures what's happening, but it's just one of those lovely books. I used to have one, and you know, the story would vary ever so slightly each time, and I really, really like that. Okay, then we've got this one, and as I mentioned with the background, I did a pastel background and then just went in with pencils. So that's a really effective way to get background done quickly. I've got glitter on those stairs. And then I haven't done this one, but again, that'll be a fairly quick one when I get around to it. And this was the first page I ever did in this, and that was why I'm now doing all of my skies purple, because I randomly did a purple sky, so I've stuck with it now. So I'll just kind of flip a bit more quickly now. But I think I did show this. I'm not even sure if it was the full thing. It probably was pretty much the full thing in my favourite books video, but you can kind of tell here what's happening. But you know, for those of you who are new to colouring, you might have not seen this. You might have not seen. I can't speak today. You might not have seen this before, but I know a lot of people probably will have done. I love this double page spread. It's gorgeous. And you know, it is detailed, but you know, breaking it down, it wouldn't be that bad. And I really do like these black background ones. I think they're so pretty. There were kind of 2 that I was contemplating doing, and I decided to go for the one that I went for, just because it was when I was watching a bit of TV and I wanted something mindless that wouldn't take too long, and of course you wouldn't really need many pencils, so this is the one I'm doing. And as you can see, I'm doing the wood at the moment, so I will show that to you. But yeah, I really, really like it. It's so cute. And I have kind of got a colour palette going for this book now, so I've got things written down that I need to remember. So again, this one's very similar to that page that I did. This half is kind of the same. So again, it's going to be one of those ones that is quite detailed, but I'll probably just do the pastel and then go in with the pencil again. but I really like how thick the paper is. As I said, the only negative side is that because the paper doesn't have that much of a tooth, you can't layer up the pastel and get a really rich colour. So that's just something that, you know, you'll have to be aware of. But I'd really recommend getting this book. That was the other one I was thinking of doing, but I'd just done flowers, so I didn't. But it's a gorgeous, gorgeous book. I absolutely love it, and I don't think I've really done that much or shown it that much on my channel, so I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to do a colour and chat. So we're going to go back to the one that I'm working on, which is this one. Just need to get the paper. There we go. Yep, so it's this one. I haven't really been working on this for that long, and I've done a fair bit of the tree, not that much. But yeah, I'm just going to show you what to do. So there's 3 colours I'm using. Annoyingly, they're all from different sets, but it really doesn't matter. As long as you have 3 browns, it doesn't matter. Or even if you have Prismacolor, you can. But I just want to show you, I've got all my pencils. I actually took my Fantastic Z ones out and put them in the polar bear case, but these are all of the pencils that kind of go in my colour palette that I'm using a lot. So you can see there's quite a few there that I sort of just put together, and they're the ones that I'm using now for this book. Oops. But the 3 pencils that I use for that door in Fairy Miracles, and also for this, was Sandbar, I can't speak, oh my goodness, Sandbar Brown, PC 1094 from the Prismacolor. Then I used a classic Faber-Castell pencil, which is 387. So you could use maybe Burnt Ochre, or trying to think, yeah, maybe that one, Burnt Sienna or something. And then this one is a Staedtler Norris colour, and the thing I really like about these is because they're really hard. They're great for layering, putting a base layer down and then going over, especially on this really smooth paper. So yeah, you would just want to use a brown really lightly. So, but on this paper, anything should be fine. But you know, if you've got 3 browns, a light, a medium, and a dark, you can still do this. So I'm just going to move you over so that I can show you some bits around here. So we're going to zoom in a bit. Okay, so we're probably going to do some of the brown around here. Sorry, I'm going to zoom you out a bit so there's a bit more focus. Okay, that's a bit better. So I'm just going to do a couple of the strips and things down here. So we're going to start with the Norris colour, which is the lightest one. So you want to grab your lightest brown and just do a light layer, and you know, this applies to the door in Fairy Miracles, because there's crevices and stuff in there, and you would do the exact same thing. So, you know, really they're pretty much the same, and this is usually how I colour wood. Even if I'm not using these browns, I will typically still do this method. So yeah, so that's the light layer. Then I'm just going to sharpen this colour a bit because it isn't that sharp. Okay, then with the Sandbar Brown, you're going to go in and just colour all of these darker areas. And you're not really going to feather out, it's more just a line. You'll go back and feather in a minute. So yeah, at the moment you're just picking out the darker place and doing a line of colour, and this is using hard pressure. And again, with some of these bits, the way Maria Troll does these trees, I really like them. So yeah, you can see this strip has two, both sides to it have the lines. So now you're just going to use a kind of circular motion. And feather it out a tiny bit, and I really mean a tiny bit. It's not that much, because you don't want there, you want there to be a big difference between the darker bit and the lighter bit. So probably just going to leave it there. Then you're going to go in with the classic, which is 387, or your medium colour. And you're going to be using fairly hard pressure and just going over the darker area. So this is almost done, so you're just going to finish off doing that. Okay, there we go. And then you're going to finish by going back with the Norris colour. And firstly, you're going to start with just doing another light layer over everything. Just the light layer, so you're not doing any hard pressure whatsoever here. And then you're going to go in with the same colour, using a bit more hard pressure, and just making sure that all of the colours are smoothed out, pushing with harder pressure over these darker areas. So again, down here, pushing harder in the darker areas. Just to make sure there's, you know, a contrast between the darker and the lighter areas. So yeah, that's pretty much it, I think. Yeah, there we go. So I hope that's helped you, Beth. Thank you for the suggestion. But yeah, so that's basically how I colour wood. So I'm now just going to continue colouring and chatting with you. So I don't think I'm going to do any more of the wood, because I'm getting quite sick of it at the moment, because I have just been working on that. So I think I might move on to actually colouring Vivi. Let me just move this up a bit. There we go. So I won't tell you the colours and stuff, because it's not a tutorial or anything. But I'm just going to start picking out my colours that I'm using. Because I kind of know now, with this being a book where I'm repeating things, like I basically know what colours to use. So I think that's it. So I do Vivi with a pink dress. I'm just going to put all of these to the side. Oops. Don't want to move the camera too much. Let me just zoom out. There we go. So, oh, this is really annoying. So I don't want to colour at a very annoying angle, but there we go. Okay, so we're just going to get started probably with her skin first. I've got a random mark on her. I don't know whether it's just a speck or something, but or maybe it was there. Maybe just there. But yeah, let's get started. So I thought I would just have a bit of a chit chat with you, because I haven't done a colouring chat for a while, and I have missed doing them, and I was so happy when Sue asked me to do one. Why am I using this colour? Oh no, I just saw the wrong colour, never mind. Yeah, because I'd really missed having the time to do one. I did one just before Christmas, but I know lots of people do enjoy them, so you know, it's half term, so I do have more time, which is really nice. We've been fairly busy. Well, not really. I mean, we had an inset day on Friday, which was lovely. Didn't really do much then. I have done a lot of work today. You know, you might not class what I have been doing as work because, you know, they're subjects that I enjoy. They're music and art. But I've had big project things to do for them. So for art, we're doing, we've moved on to our second topic, and it's identity. So you might recall that the first book that I was doing was Journeys. Got that all marked, got it finished. I didn't finish the book, I did about halfway, but they don't expect you to finish these big books because they are big. But yeah, I was pleased with that. And now I've moved on to identity. And typically, identity I always knew was going to be my least favourite topic, just because I haven't had much experience colouring people, drawing people, or painting people. So it was quite a daunting thing for me. And we've only been doing it for maybe 3 weeks on our new books, and it's really, really, really scary, actually, just because it's something so different I haven't really done much of. And you know, some people found the Journeys stuff hard, and you know, I'm finding the identity really, really challenging. Not that I didn't find Journeys challenging, because I did, but that was more to my taste, just because I could do so much more. And I still want to incorporate other things into my identity topic. You know, identity isn't just people. I want to do stuff like the identity of nature, and incorporating maybe ladybirds or something, and you know, because they will have different spots and things like that, or fur, different skins of animals maybe. But it is really, really tricky. And you know, the good thing is that our teacher is kind of guiding us on these, because we have these two topics. Well, only one obviously at the moment, because we finished the Journeys one, but we then get the one from the exam board in September, which is the one that no one knows who it is. No one knows what it is, sorry. So that will be exciting. But our mock exam is always the previous year. So I think the one last year was events. So I think that will be our mock exam topic. Yeah, it's really tricky. And I was looking around some of the colleges, and that was the thing that did put me off doing art A-level. I was considering it, but I didn't really think I would do it. Anyway, I had a look, but we're a bit early anyway, because most people only look around colleges in year 11, but we wanted to just look around a bit early, just to see what they're like. So yeah, and I was put off a bit, just because everything that they were doing was people. And we were talking to some of the teachers, and they say, yeah, it doesn't have to all be people, but lots of people just gravitate towards doing them. And I guess that's kind of just what they lean towards at A-level. But yeah, it is really tricky, and I admire people so much that they can do them. And you know, at some point I will show you my book, because I know I did show you a few bits of my book in various completed pages videos. But yeah, it is very tricky. Then the other thing I'm doing is a music composition. So we're doing this thing called ground bass at the moment, which was something that I had done vaguely in my grade 5 theory back in year 7, I think. But we're kind of, you know, some of the stuff that I do for GCSE I haven't done before, and so in terms of the composing side to it, it is really, really challenging. And what we had to do for this was pick 4 or 5 instruments as a quartet, but obviously it doesn't have to be called a quartet, but you need 4 instruments or 5 instruments. The quintet. And then you could choose the genre of music, and then not necessarily your chord patterns, but obviously the music that you're creating has to match that time, otherwise it would be pointless even doing a particular genre. And then we had so the idea behind a ground bass is that there's this repeating bass line all the way through, and we're doing ternary form, which means that it's A, B, A. So A and B are 2 different sections, and then A repeats, but with development. So A does change a bit. You know, you might vary the rhythm, vary some of the notes. But yeah, so I chose to do jazz, which is really tricky for me, just because I absolutely love hearing jazz and playing the occasional jazz piece. They were always my favourite ones in my grades. But coming up with it is so difficult, and oh my gosh, it is so tricky. So I was battling with that for probably about 3 hours this morning, and I did get it done. I had done some at school, and we'd been given a bit of lesson time, but we've only got half term, and then we have to hand it in the week after. But it is so hard coming up with things, and I love listening to, La La Land and things like that, where the jazz is amazing, and then it is really hard to come up with unique stuff, but I'm hoping it's okay. I don't know exactly how good it is, but we'll see. But I've really enjoyed doing that. It's just a big project, and I use this program called MuseScore, which is excellent, and it is free, and you basically can just input all of these notes. You can input the whole music. So if you imagine like notes, sheet music where you have the stave and everything, that's basically it. You just input the notes and dynamics and stuff onto there, and then you can hear it back, play it back to yourself and see what it sounds like, change it around. If I didn't have that, I don't know what I would do. I wouldn't be able to do music GCSE. I mean, some people use GarageBand, but you can use GarageBand for what we're doing, but some of the stuff you can't. If we're doing a classical piece, you couldn't use GarageBand, for example, because you wouldn't be able to get the same effects. You'd have to use MuseScore for that. But if you're doing a techie type piece where the idea is that you're using technology, then of course that's perfect. You wouldn't use MuseScore for that. So it really depends on the style. And it's something that I've just found really useful having for the past few years. I mean, I got it, I think, back in year 8, but I hadn't used it that much, and I'm really getting into it now. I think we've probably had to do about 3 or 4 compositions already this year, so it's really good. And then there's this other software that I have called BandLab, which you can do so much with. You can input backing tracks from YouTube and do singing on top of it for performances, video it. You can import your compositions that you've done on MuseScore and then sing over it if that's what you've intended it to do. But it's just amazing, all of these things that are around now. I can't believe it. But yeah, that's pretty much done now. And with my art, I'm doing, well, I had that this morning, and then I was working on my art probably for about 2 hours this afternoon. Haven't finished it, no one here. But we're doing an artist called Jenny Saville, which, I mean, I admire, her work is amazing. But it's not for me. It's so tricky what she does, and what we have to do is, for each artist that we study, our teacher gave us her to study, for each one we have to do a response. So that's either, first we have to do information about her, then we have to do a response, which is either a direct copy of hers or, the best that you can, which is what I'm doing, or you can take an image and create something inspired by her. But as I say, because I'm not too comfortable with doing people and stuff, I decided to just stick to copying one of hers. And you know, copying is still tricky, but I've got her image on one side, my image on the other, and trying to replicate it, so it's nowhere near done. And also I do have a few acrylics, but I've been using gouache just because I really like using it. I know how to use it a lot better than acrylics, and watercolour would be too weak for it, but yeah, it's going okay-ish. It's not the best, but yeah, see how that goes. So yeah, I haven't really done much this half term, so obviously I've been doing that work today. And we're going, I think we're going to Hobbycraft tomorrow, yay. I need to get a few replacement polychromos pencils, I think, and I was going to get some acrylic paint, but I'm not going to get some, because I actually just found the ones that I was using. They're just really cheap ones from Tiger, but they do the job, because I don't really use acrylic paint that much, and I've decided to use the gouache anyway, so I don't need more. And also I need to get some more thick paper cardstock stuff, because you might remember that every year for Mother's Day I paint and colour 12 postcards for my mum. I've been doing it for a few family members, not for Mother's Day, but you know, for birthdays or whenever. And I was starting to do it with gouache, and it was okay, and you know, me and my mum were colouring together. And for Valentine's Day, I just decided to draw a picture for my mum, and I was like, hey, you know, here you go, and then she could colour it. She actually watercoloured it the same day, and it looked really lovely. I really liked what she did with it, and she was like, hey, you know, maybe instead of colouring them for me and putting them up, you could draw me 12 pictures, and then I can paint them or colour them each month and then put it up. So it's like a collaboration thing. And you know, that's great for me because I'm still doing something that I really enjoy, which is the drawing, but it's not quite as time consuming. Especially around this time, it is fairly busy. And also, you know, it's really lovely that it is a collaboration. And when I'm obviously putting time aside to do those with the colouring, when I'm doing that colouring and other colouring, it's just quite a lot of colouring. So it's really nice to do some drawing as well as. So I think that's going to be really lovely. So I need to get, because I've got this paper and I know exactly which one I want to get. It was really inexpensive. And I want to get some more of it, but I don't want to use all of the stuff that I have, because tearing it out of the pad isn't good for it, 'cause it's only glue bound, and also I have done a few pictures in it already and I don't want them to fall out. So I'm just going to probably grab some paper similar to it at Hobbycraft tomorrow, which will be good. But yeah, there's just things that, some things that I need to get for replacements and things. So another thing that I was wanting to ask about, a bit of a query that I had, was whether Fabiana Attanasio is coming out with any new books, because at the moment I have quite a few of her books on my wish list, but I don't know if I've got all of them on there. I know she's had loads of books, but obviously some of them have gone out of print, I think, and they're now only in Italian, which doesn't bother me. But I think, I can't remember if someone mentioned that she was coming out with The Little Mermaid at some point. And I know she's doing those, oh my gosh, the Joseph Kattenbang one, she's doing that same series. I can't remember what it's called. I know she's doing that, but I didn't know if she was coming out with any of her fairy tale ones, because again, they've been books that I've been looking at for a while, and you know, I don't really need any more books. As lovely as they are, I would absolutely, you know, love them, but I'm trying to colour in more of the books that I have, and I'll probably get them one day. But I was just wondering if she had any more that I'm missing or that I don't know about. If you could let me know, that would be great. Yeah, I was watching back Colouring Frances, one of her, it was the Hansel and Gretel one, her colouring chat, and that's probably my favourite one by Fabiana, and I think it's only in Italian now. I think the Italian one is the one I've got on my cart, not on my cart, it's on my Amazon wishlist, but yeah, we will see. But they're just lovely books. I think it's kind of weird that I'm going in with ivory on her hair, but I'm going to go over the ivory with the brown. So I actually have ended up doing a bit more brown, but you know, her hair was brown because that's what it was in other pages, so yeah. So, the other thing I wanted to talk about was that I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers, which I can't believe. It's amazing. And I'm going to be doing a giveaway. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet. But yeah, I'm going to be doing a giveaway just to show my appreciation for everybody that's been watching and subscribing, because honestly, I just blows my mind away every time I see the figures going up. And you know, as the community is growing bigger, I want to know what you want to see from my channel in the future. I love your suggestions, and hearing, you know, what you want to see. You know, by all means, keep them coming, but if there's anything that you would want me to maybe change, or things that you think I could do better, you know, I am open to criticism as long as it is said in a friendly way. Obviously, you know, if it's not rude, but by all means, you know, I want my channel to be as good as it can be, and if there's things that need improving, I will definitely try and do them. So yeah, I'd love some positive feedback on the negative things, maybe that you'd want to see being changed. But really, I'm just here for the fun, and I can't wait to see where the next part of my journey leads, because I've loved my first year and a bit now on YouTube, and I can't believe that in a year I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers. It's amazing. Thank you so much. And I also love all of your emails as well. They're just so lovely, and you know, if you ever want to just have a chat, I am always happy to do that. And you know, I just love seeing them pop it up in my inbox every now and then. So my email's always in the description if you would like to contact me. You know, even if you have any questions about things, any queries, stuff like that, please get in touch, because I really love, and I love all your comments as well. Sorry, I didn't even finish my sentence then. Yeah, I love all your emails and all your comments, and it's just, support has been overwhelming, honestly. As I've said before, and you know, as loads of people say, I didn't even think I would get 500, 300, you know, or even 100. I didn't know, because I was quite late to the colouring community. I'd been watching since it had begun, but I hadn't had a channel until last year, and so yeah, I didn't know if I was going to be relevant, you know, if it would be worth it. But I've seen new people coming in, even, you know, after me, lots of people in fact, and I love seeing new channels. So if you have any recommendations for newer channels that have started up that I may have missed, I'd love to hear about those too. Or, you know, if you have a channel. But yeah, I just love all the support, and can't thank you enough. So this colour that I'm using at the moment, I don't use that often. It's the Dark Flesh one. The weird thing is with this Polychromos pencil is that the medium flesh is actually a darker barrel than the Dark Flesh, but surely the Dark Flesh should be darker, but I'm pretty sure the colour is darker as well in the medium one, but or they're different types of tones, I think. Oh yes, another thing we did, I did on the first day of half term on that Friday was I made some cakes, and they were heart shaped, obviously, because it was on Valentine's Day. It was normal Victoria sponge, and then I put raspberry jam and buttercream in the middle, and then I coated them with pink icing. And the reason that I did that was because I wanted to make them a bit like fondant fancies. So I absolutely love those, and wanted to try and replicate them. Obviously they're not exactly the same because I don't know what the actual recipe is for fondant fancies, but they were pretty similar. And then I'd made the tray bakes to do the cake, and cut the cake out with a heart cutter, and I had all of this spare sponge, and I was like, oh my god, what am I going to do with this? And suddenly thought about popsicle or cake pops or whatever they're called, I don't know. And I'd always been, well, as a family, we'd never made them or bought them before, because we'd always been put off by like, obviously I know how to make them, but the fact that it was kind of just like mushed up cake with buttercream. And I was like, is it gonna work? And I was like, well, I've got all of this spare cake, you know, it's not as if I'm just making them anyway, you know, I might as well use the spare cake that I have. And you know, I made them, and they were actually delicious. I preferred them to the cakes that I made. My parents had the cakes because they preferred those. But they were so good. And originally, so to make the cake popsicles, or cake pops, all you do is crumble up the cake with some buttercream and mix it. It looks disgusting before you put the coating on. Yeah, and then you set them for an hour in the fridge, and then you coat them with icing or white chocolate. And originally I was going to coat the heart cakes in white chocolate because I was just going to do it, and it didn't really work. So I had all the spare chocolate, so I used that instead. And I coloured it pink and coated them. And usually with cake pops you put them on sticks, but I didn't, because I just thought, well, that's just an extra hassle. I'll just do them as little balls. So yeah, I covered them in white chocolate, and then I think we had a few sprinkles left, so I just put a few on each one. And I really, really enjoyed making them. It was so fun. Obviously it's a bit time consuming just because you have to wait for them to set, but it's really worth it. And they're so easy to do, and if you do just have leftover cake lying around, that's a great way to use it. I probably wouldn't make them just anyway. I'd only make them if we had spare cake, because it's kind of pointless, especially since I was the only one that really liked them. I think just because they're maybe, I guess the texture's slightly weird because it's not full cake, you know, it's cake and buttercream. I really like the texture because it's kind of like marzipan. But yeah, I can't complain, I really like them. Okay, I'm just going to do her lips and her eyes, and then we are done. That took longer than it probably would, but you know, I've been chatting and I'm always slower when I've been chatting, so right, what we're going to use, probably blue. I don't even know if I've really had to colour her eyes before because I don't think they've ever been big enough. Okay, there we go. So I think I'm going to stop it there because it's a fairly long video and, you know, otherwise it won't upload that quickly. But I really hope you've enjoyed this video. I've loved having a chat with you, and you know that hopefully you found the wood tutorial useful as well. So yeah, as I said, all of my information is down below in terms of my email if you want to contact me, any questions, things like that. Thank you again for all of your support, and thank you to almost 1,000 subscribers. And yeah, it's just I love doing this, and I actually can't remember not doing videos now. It's just weird that remembering the time when I didn't have my channel, because this whole community is just so amazing. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye everyone!